Hi, it's Dargie here, and this is 5-Minute Photography. Today we're talking about ISO. What's it all about, and when should you change the setting? Before I get into it, let me invite you to subscribe to the channel, give the video the thumbs up, and don't forget to head to my website where you can find out all about my photography, tuition tours and safaris. Okay, let's talk photography. ISO makes the camera sensor more sensitive to light. The light enters the camera through the aperture in the lens and the shutter that's inside the camera body, but when it gets to the sensor, we have the ability to make the sensor more sensitive to the light that's present in the camera. A low ISO is less sensitive to light, and a high ISO is more sensitive to light. So if you have a higher ISO number, the camera is going to do more with the light that comes in. There's a trade-off in image quality. A high ISO image tends to be more noisy or grainy. Now that's a bit of an oversimplification, but I don't want to get into signal noise ratios and so on in this video. I just want to talk about what ISO can do in your photography when the camera's in your hand. So for those purposes, we can say that a high ISO tends to be noisier or grainier than a low ISO image. Set up your camera at home with a simple still life that you can take a photo of. Use the camera on a tripod and set it to aperture priority mode. Take a shot at the lowest ISO, then cycle your setting all the way up to the highest ISO and take another shot. And if you compare those two pictures and zoom into the details, you'll see quite a difference in the graininess of those pictures. When and why would you change the ISO if it affects the quality of your image? I'm going to give you a couple of examples and they both tie into one reason, and that's for when you need a faster shutter speed. Say you're shooting in low light, something like an evening event, or even just one of those really dull, dark winter days that we get here. You'll want to do everything you can to get light into the camera. You're going to set the widest aperture and you're going to set the slowest shutter speed that you can handhold the camera. So that might be f4 on your aperture, depends on your lens. It might be a 15th of a second, a 20th of a second, a 50th of a second. And if you're still not getting a steady enough image, then that's when you need to increase the ISO to let you get a fast enough shutter speed that you can handhold the camera and eliminate camera shake. Another good example is when you're looking for a fast shutter speed. So the first one was a low light and you needed a faster shutter speed. This is when you're shooting a subject that requires a particularly fast shutter speed, like wildlife, sport, moving action. So we're talking about if you need to get a shutter speed of 1,000th or 2,000th of a second. If it's a really sunny day, you might not have a problem just getting that fast shutter speed with a low ISO, but most of the time you're going to need to increase the ISO to get a shutter speed like 1,000th of a second. So you'll start with your widest aperture, your lowest f number. That'll give you the chance to increase the shutter speed. Then you're going to need to just up the ISO to do what it needs to do to give you the shutter speed that you need. So you might be shooting at ISO 800, ISO 1600 to get that 1,000th of a second. But if you don't have that fast shutter speed, the pictures of those kids running around or those birds on the bird feeder, they're not going to be fixed solid. They're going to be some motion blur in those pictures. So both of those examples come down to getting a fast shutter speed. And that's really, if you can sum up, that's really when you would increase the ISO, when you need a faster shutter speed. Sometimes you might just want to set in a high ISO and just leave it there. That's understandable, but there'll be times if you do that you're unnecessarily taxing the ISO, because you won't always need the high ISO to get the settings that you need. So auto ISO is a good option where it will give you the high ISO that you need, but it won't give you one that's higher than you need. So you'll always get the lowest ISO that you can, which is good to circle back to the start, which is good for your image quality. So it's all coming together, aperture, shutter speed and ISO, and in the next video I'm going to talk about exposure, which really brings everything together. So in summary, ISO is how sensitive the camera sensor is to light. A low ISO is less sensitive to light but has a better image quality. A high ISO is more sensitive to light, but there's a trade-off in image quality. Generally, you want to keep the lowest ISO that you can, but you have to increase the ISO at times when you need a faster shutter speed, whether it's low light or whether you're shooting a fast-moving subject. I think some people can get a bit worried about increasing the ISO and getting a noisier, grainier image than they need. For me, it's there to be used. And if you've got an amazing moment unfolding in front of you, you need to get that shot, and it's better to get it with grain than not to get it at all. So, okay, that just about covers it. I hope you took something away from that video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give the video the thumbs up, and head to my website where you can get my free ebook and intro to DSLR cheat sheet. Thanks for watching, stay safe, Enjoy your photography, and I'll see you out there.
Bye.
What's ISO about?